Welcome back into Lead Her Forward, ESPN Madison celebration of National Women and Girls in Sports Day. Joining me now, Emma Jaskaniec and Gabby Green of the Wisconsin soccer team. Love it. I used to play soccer, but I would never want to go one-on-one against you guys, not gonna lie. But you guys are both seniors, and you're both captains.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yes.
How special is that? Like, is that voted by your coaches? Is it voted by your teammates? How does that work?
Voted by teammates. So no just the coaches, but I think that's even honestly more of an honor, being recognized by your teammates as someone they can go to as a leader on the team. So it's a really special, I think, title to have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially for me, like just having your, like she said, your teammates vote you, I think is even more special than your coaches, because coaches will sometimes just like choose their favorite players, but it actually means that you're respected by your peers and like they look up to you, and it's not like you're just like not like another teammate, but it's like they actually respect you and will come to you for advice, which I think is different than what other teams have.
For sure. And Emma, you're from Menominee Falls originally, right?
Yes.
So how did you kind of decide to stay in-state? I think I read a thing on, like, some bio thing on you, and it said that you committed to UW at the age of 14.
Yes.
Is that legit? Like,
yes. So there's actually, my mom like tells this story all this time. So when I was like, I don't know, in 4th grade maybe, I was like, so do I just tell them I want a scholarship? Like, ever since I was little, I've always known I wanted to come here. Like, my great-great-grand went here, both my grandparents went here, both my parents went here, my brother went here. So it's just been like a legacy. So like when they offered me a spot on the team, so it was my freshman year of high school, I was 14 at the time, I was like, yep, I'm coming. Like,
that is crazy.
When I had committed here, Emma was, I think, one of 2 that were committed in our class already. I had no idea who she was, and the coaches were like, yeah, we knew she was going to be a Badger forever. Like, she's just been coming to camp since she was little. We knew we got her.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And Gabby, you're from Austin, Texas, correct?
I am, yes.
So how did you kind of, like, start your journey to Wisconsin? Why Wisconsin? How did you end up all the way up here?
Yeah. So I used to live in Ann Arbor when I was super young, so I grew up a huge Michigan fan. So always knew I wanted to go Big Ten. Kind of loved Big Ten sports, everything about it.
Yeah.
Loved the Midwest. And then my brother actually played football here. So when he came on visits, or I'd just come with him, and loved Madison, loved the school, the culture around everything in the athletic department. And then honestly just kind of worked out that coaches recruited me, and it just happened. Yeah, it was great.
Exciting. So how does that recruitment process work for both of you? Like, I mean, you were obviously super young when it happened, but like, what's the process of getting here and being on the team?
So I was going to say my process of recruitment is different than I would say most like female athletes, but so because I was so young, like I was only getting looked at by like other Big Ten schools. So like for me, like if I was not going to go to Wisconsin, like I'm going to California. Like I'm not staying, like nothing in the Big Ten is even comparable to Wisconsin. So I just like did camps growing up, and so like they had been recruiting me since I was in like 7th grade. So that's pretty much how I just like ended up here, and I like talked I think to like 2 other schools, but like since I like knew I wanted to go here, I was like, what's the point? And I'm like very happy with my decision. So
awesome. How about you?
Mine's a little different. I would say I never came to a Wisconsin camp, which I think most girls on our team have at this point. So I think I'm kind of a oddball on that one, that I never came to a camp. But my recruiting process was more so like through my club team, which a lot of girls do that as well. So play at a high-level club team, you go to national showcases throughout the year, and you can talk to the coaches. Now there's age restriction and everything like that, so the game's changed a little bit, but just my recruitment was more so through like national tournaments and my club team and stuff like that.
Okay. I was just gonna like add to that a little bit. They did have like restrictions, but we could still talk to the coaches. But I remember like my coach would have to like, so Paula would text my club coach, and my club coach would text me, and he's like, call her in 5 minutes, and I'd call her, and then like I'd like wait 5 minutes. If she didn't answer, I'd call her again. She'd be like, oh, sorry, I was on a walk with my dog. But like they can't call you back, so it was always like these like weird things that would happen.
I have a memory of like one of our assistant coaches, Tim, and I had a call with him. I was at a friend's house. I was like, I have to call my coach at 5 p.m. I don't know. And so I called him, and he didn't answer. And I was like, okay, I gotta wait, because he couldn't call me back. I think I called him 12 times, like and I just like left a message. I don't know if Tim even remembers this, but I think I left a message every time, like, I'll call you back in whatever time, because he was at his daughter's gymnastics meet.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So how much has that changed now with like NIL deals and kind of the door being more open, not necessarily like fully open, but like how has it changed?
Like with recruitment?
Yeah, like all of it.
So I guess for high schoolers, the new rule is like there's absolutely no communication, like not anything through club coaches until your September 1st of your junior year. So it's like, wow. So for me, like there's like no possibility that I could have committed. And I mean, for me, like I'm glad I committed early, but like looking back on it, like I was 14. I didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. Like that was, what, like 7 years ago? 7 years ago? Like that's crazy. Like I shouldn't have planned that out that far in advance. So like I think the new rules are both a safety for the kids and the coaches, just because also like Paula didn't know what I was going to be like 5 years from now. And so she like bet on me and I bet on them, and it like happened to work out. But I think the new rules are in place to like prevent like things from, I guess, slipping out of place.
Mm-hmm. And like for NIL, does your team have anything going right now? Do you individually have anything going right now? And like, how do you see differences in like the way that women's sports are approached at UW in terms of NIL versus like the men's sports, or like what is that like?
I would say definitely for sure. I don't know, maybe not necessarily through the university, but maybe the opportunities that bigger name male athletes have. I think you could probably find that anyway, though. That's not just Wisconsin.
Yes.
But I would say probably the bigger name, your football players, your basketball players, whatever it is, have probably more opportunities than a women's soccer player.
Yeah.
But I would say that's probably more so anywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know, like, me and some of the kids on my team, there's, like, small things that we've done, but it's never been more than, like, a few $100s, like, for a deal or something. And I, like, you see, like, pictures of, like, Johnny Davis or, like, Graham Mertz on, like, billboards in Madison, and probably more than just Madison and all of Wisconsin. So it's, like, and I've never heard of, like, a women's athlete getting, at least at Wisconsin, like, an opportunity like that. And, I mean, I've heard of, like, a few across the country, but then, like, that's making, like, the headlights and stuff, you know what I mean? Where it's, like,
yeah,
the men here in Wisconsin, like, get it, and it's, like, oh, like, whatever, it's just a guy getting it. That's, like, at least my view on it.
For sure. And, like, do you guys think, I know that soccer isn't typically, like, the biggest sport in the United States. I feel like it's definitely getting bigger, which is cool.
Yeah.
And also with, like, the success of the U.S. women's national team, too, right? Like,
absolutely.
There's so much that people are realizing that, hey, women's soccer is really freaking cool, right?
Yeah.
So, like, do you think that, like, you're, I'm trying to think how to, like, phrase this, but, like, do you think that the success of those women that are so high up is helping you guys? Like, is it generating more of a fan base for you guys? Like, are people excited about women's soccer? What do you think there?
I would say absolutely. I mean, they've always been amazing, and ever since we've been growing up, I've watched them play and watched them succeed on the biggest stages.
Yeah.
But I think they have fought for a lot of equality and have done amazing for themselves, but also for the younger generations following behind them. So that's been really cool and like an honor to be kind of a part of, but to watch and to kind of reap the benefits of that. But I definitely think that their success and their fight and their drive to have kind of equality in men and women's sports have definitely helped, I don't know, encourage people watch us or support us in a sense.
I was going to say, I think women's soccer is like one of the bigger women's sports in the United States. And I think that, like you had mentioned, the U.S. women's national team has definitely, like, paved a path for us. And, like, growing up, like, always, like, every kid's dream is, like, playing the national team. But it's, like, that, like, helped push me to, like, play harder and, like, get to, like, the D1 college level and stuff like that. So I definitely think that the things that they have done have helped improve the sport for everybody.
Cool. And you also mentioned your coach, Paula Wilkins. How do you think that having her as a female coach as well, who's probably gone through like very similar things that you guys have gone through too, like in this sport, how do you think that she's kind of motivated you or empowered you as female athletes?
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, growing up, like, I always had guy coaches, and so when I got to college, like, I vividly remember my first game I was playing, because I graduated early, so I was like, it was in a spring game. And all of a sudden, I hear, like, somebody screaming my name for the sideline. I'm like, oh, my goodness, I messed up. Like, I'm going to get benched. And I look over, and she's yelling, good job. And that's, like, not something that I've had before. So I think having, like, a female leader, they're just, like, so much more encouraging because they know what we're, like, going through as, like, female athletes. And, like, Paul played college soccer as well, so, like, she knows exactly what we're going through. So just, like, her encouragement and, like, her pushing us is like different than what I've had in the past, and I like really enjoy that.
Yeah, I think not only Paula has been in our role, she's been a Division I athlete, played soccer at the highest level. She's also an amazing coach and knows so much about soccer, but I think she also cares about us as people. It's been, I mean, we both been through hardships in our 4 years here, but I think Paula truly cares about us as people and has helped me grow, at least, in like my confidence and how I approach certain situations or how I feel about myself. So I think she's a big influence and a great part of kind of pushing women's sports.
Awesome.
I was just, the one thing I was going to add to that is like going back to the captain thing, like I don't think I'd be like a captain without her, because I remember like my sophomore year when she was like, Em, like you're going to need to like step up in new roles, and she was like teaching me different ways to like learn things about my teammates and like learn how to push like individual people differently. And like I'd never had that in my past, because I'd been a captain on my club team, but like my coaches just told me to yell at people, and that's like not how you like get people to be better, which I never knew until she became my coach.
I think Em and I have had very different journeys. I think playing soccer here, she's been a starter all 4 years and deserves all of that. I was not a starter. I was on the bench. I've been a starter and then gotten bench before, and so like I have very different I think perspective than Emma does, and we both provide I think a lot of different value to our teammates, and I think Paula definitely encourages that as well, to being like we can hit different people in different ways, and I think that's what Paula has always talked to us about, how we can reach different people in that way as well. And I think we can take that into our life as well beyond the soccer field.
Awesome, I love that. And lastly, what does it mean to you to be a woman in sports? What do you think?
Well, we were actually talking about this before we got here, and I like always feel like when like the women's sports days come up, it's like we're always compared to men, but I was like, no, like I'm just like a girl who's like a badass woman. Like that's what I said. I don't know if I want to say it.
No, you can say it. It's okay.
But like I'm like, why, like I just want to be recognized for like being like who I am and being an athlete. And like a lot of times I think females like struggle with like, oh, like I don't want super big arms, like I need to be the skinniest, and it's like you're an athlete, like you just get to go and like play your sport and perform and like be the best. And I think that is something that's so unique to like just female athletes. So I'm just like really proud to be an athlete, and especially a Badger. So
I agree. I think being a woman in sports is such an empowering feeling, and I think, I mean, 10 years ago, I don't know if 2 women's soccer players would have said the same thing, but at least from where I'm sitting now and like my experiences now, I can say kind of what Em said, like I'm proud to be a woman in sports, and at Wisconsin, I definitely feel empowered by it. I feel like a badass, and like like my favorite memories are when we're on the field, we're down, struggling, like sure, maybe physically it sucks, but like I don't know, you really are empowered by being a woman in sports, and I never feel like obviously there's differences between men and women in sports and life and all that stuff, and equality is amazing, but I think there's a lot to say for being a woman in sports, and I'm very proud of where that is now.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love hearing that from you guys. That's awesome. But thank you both so much for joining me, and thank you guys at home for listening to Lead Her Forward, ESPN Madison celebration of National Women and Girls in Sports Day on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Double V.